Hey everybody, I am Sarah. Welcome back to Overkill Reviews. This is BangerTV's weekly heavy metal review show. I am back yet again to talk about a genre that I really love, which is black metal, and to also hype that I am doing my own Best of 2023 video again this year. Return of Cassette Cult. So you can expect that in December, and it only features one of the albums that I've reviewed this year. So you can expect lots of underground gems. And on that note, this week, I am reviewing the 10th studio album by a renowned US black metal project that Banger has already devoted a lot of screen time to. And on that note, sorry for taking the review that you wanted, Blaine. So that track was called The Blue Against the White. It is the final track from the new album by PANOPTICON. That record is called The Rime of Memory via Bind Ruined Recordings. PANOPTICON formed in 2007 in Louisville, Kentucky, United States, and is masterminded by Austin Lunn, who plays everything. The one-man black metal band is extremely prolific, and their self-titled debut was released in 2008, followed by Collapse in 2009, On the Subject of Mortality in 2010, Social Disservice in 2011, Kentucky in 2012, Roads to the North in 2014, Autumn Eternal in 2015, The Scar of Man on the Once Nameless Wilderness 1 and 2 in 2018, and again Into the Light in 2021, and that's not even to mention all of the EPs and splits. I told you, this guy is extremely prolific. The band is notable for merging black metal with American bluegrass music, and today Panopticon is marked by the integration of diverse instrumentation, including instruments like violin, cello, hardanger fiddle, mandolin, gourd flute, tin whistle, banjo, the list goes on. In addition, there is a commitment to extremely personal lyrical themes that focus on class-related and environmental social injustice, in addition to personal experiences, which is more of a later era of the band's shift, and an integration of post-rock cinematic elements. So to me personally, this band sounds like if Godspeed You Black Emperor and From Monument to Masses, both amazing post-rock bands that I would recommend that you check out, met Wolves in the Throne Room, Dawn Raid, and Spectral Lore. Critically acclaimed, Panopticon is hugely celebrated in atmospheric black metal circles. Well, I would say he's quite celebrated in metal circles worldwide. Does his 10th studio album live up to the legacy? Let's find out. Okay, so to kick this review off, I have to talk about the very first thing that I noticed, which was that even before pressing play on the Rime of Memory, I noticed the 1 hour and 15-minute long runtime. Panopticon's earliest albums ran around 45 minutes, and as the years have creeped by, they've consistently become progressively longer. And as you likely know, I often criticize bands for their inability to self-edit, particularly when they leave bloated records in their wake that would legitimately be vastly improved if the weakest songs were cut. But I'm now on my 6th full listen through, and I can resolutely state that I have not been feeling the runtime of the Rime of Memory. Yes, the album is extremely long, but that time is well spent in very skillfully building dynamics. Austin is clearly focusing on building up musical tension, then releasing it. A great example of this is in the fantastic Winter's Ghost, which has its atmospheric mission statement embedded directly within the title. The track shifts from about 6 minutes of cinematic tension building with mournful clean vocals eventually integrated into the mix. And then it abruptly explodes into relentless black metal. That relentless black metal is eventually elevated by ample layers of backing keyboards until around the 12-minute mark, when it then reverts to slow atmospheric tension building. When the vocals and the violin or cello, I'm not sure which, and the metal onslaught all conjoin together, the song becomes damn near orgiastic. When the entire track starts to come to a close and the choir returns, it legitimately brought tears to my eyes the first couple of times that I listened to it. Altogether, this track is just an extremely strong, intentional, cinematic, compositional example of fantastic writing. Of course, Panopticon has been interlacing samples that relate to socio-political events into songs throughout his discography, and it's no different on the Rime of Memory. On track 3, which is called Cedar Skeletons, you'll hear a bleak commentary on the damage that was caused by the Greenwood wildfire in northern Minnesota in December 2021, where lightning struck and reduced a forest in Austin's now home state to ashes.
When the smoke clears and the last flames are out, the stark reality of the major forest fire is right there. Vast tracts of forest charred and barren, except for the burned out spines of what were once massive pines. The Greenwood fire, out of control at times, burned nearly 27,000 acres of forest land in northern Minnesota left unrecognizable. To many, it was sensitive, but it is also unredeemable.
This style of incorporating samples is really astute. It contributes to the atmosphere and tension without being glaring or overwhelming. And I haven't spoken about the song itself yet, which is over 16 minutes and features a common Panopticon trait, which is incorporating a variety of instruments into the tracks to build tension. For example, this instrument appears to be used to mimic the frenetic and rapidly changing danger that is inherent in a wildfire. I've already emphasized in point 1 on how there's an emphasis on tension and release, and using samples and additional instrumentation in this way simply builds on that existing quality. The mission statement for this album could be very clearly summed up in 3 words, which is winter is coming. It's very much thematically, visually, and sonically emulative of a barren, wintry landscape and the darkness that accompanies it, and it does feel like emotionally there's a very bleak feeling embedded all throughout this record. While you do receive a brief sonic respite from the bleakness in track 5, which is called Enduring the Snow Drought, courtesy of this lilting, floating guitar lead that recurs throughout the song, I think this is a bit of a gotcha, as snow droughts are kind of horrifying evidence that climate change is happening. So yeah, bleak black metal gotcha. Well, once again, we have a strong album. This month, I haven't felt very much like a music critic, and I've felt a little bit more like a cheerleader, but I do think it's important to note that labels tend to save their strongest release for the end of the year, as in September, October, November, because they want those albums to be featured on the best of the year lists that metal fans like you voraciously consume. So that means that a lot of the albums I've been reviewing in November are the strongest albums of the year. Lucky me, and I guess lucky you. It might be the Finn in me, or just probably the tortured human in me, who is experiencing the incessant horrors of the world like everyone else and feeling quite crushed by it. But right now, I can seriously relate to a dark, swirling, ambient, atmospheric black metal album as the darkness closes in here in Helsinki. And on that note, Panopticon really is quite consistently strong. And I think that some people would argue that his albums like Kentucky or Social Disservices or Autumn Eternal are potentially his strongest, and that one album or another tends to suffer from weak points. But overall, he's created a formula, he sticks to it, and his delivery is quite consistent, which, you know, if you watch Banger's last review on the previous album, Blaine makes the same point that I do.
There's only a handful of Panopticon records, and he can release more that sound similar to his other records and still be really adding to a great catalog for people like me that absolutely love this and crave more of it.
People rave about it for a reason. It's quite unique. He's kind of in a class all of his own.
So while he's not reinventing the wheel, he's driving on weird wheels he invented himself. So I can't keep asking him to make new wheels. He already made a crazy new wheel.
Not only that, but it's quite rare that I would ever find a band where I want to rave about their 10th studio album. And I looked through my record collection and I was double checking on Metallum. And honestly, I had 2 examples that I thought of. 10th studio albums that are good. There's not a lot of them. Panopticon has achieved that rare feat. And it's comforting and it's cinematic. And I really am relating to it. And it feels like an album that I want to listen to when I'm hiking in the forest by myself. And it's an album that I want to listen to when I'm wrapped in wool with a cup of hot tea on my rocking chair. So for all those reasons, the Rime of Memory is getting 4 skulls out of 5 here on Overkill Reviews. Now it's time for the shout-outs. The third and final segment of Midnight Odyssey's Bio-Volume trilogy is being released on November 24th via Voidhanger, and what a trilogy it's been so far. Midnight Odyssey is a one-man Australian black metal band, and they make very cinematic, genre-bending black metal that is extremely lengthy in runtime. Does that sound familiar? And it feels very ethereal and gorgeous. You can grab Bio-Volume Part 3 of Full Moon Madness from Bandcamp. Next up, the new High Spirits is likely the best album by High Spirits yet. I don't entirely know how they surpassed Another Night, but the newest album, Safe on the Other Side, is absolutely fantastic high-energy dance rock, and I am thrilled about it. I actually interviewed the band mastermind Chris Black about the new album for Decibel, and you can read that article in the December issue of the magazine and pick up the album from Bandcamp. Okay, that's it. That's all. Hope y'all have a good rest of your November, and please, 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 please argue about the best Panopticon album in the comments. Because, yeah, it doesn't seem like there's a full consensus on that. Okay, thanks. Bye.